So, everyone here that's watching this video probably plays Hypixel Skyblock. If not, yeah, that's awkward. But everyone that plays Hypixel Skyblock should know about the Juju bow. If not, let me briefly explain about it. And just so you know, that's not the forgotten bow I'm going to talk about. The Juju bow is nowhere close to forgotten. If you think it's forgotten, then you should update your definition of forgotten. Most people have this bow and know about this bow. People have it because it does good damage and it's around 30 mil, which is pretty cheap for a good damaging weapon. Some of you guys might not even have close to 30 mil, and it's fine not to have that much, but it is cheap for an archer berserker weapon. Yes, berserkers can use it for some reason, even though berserkers are supposed to be melee. I mean, who follows job descriptions anyways? You tell me to make you a sandwich? I'll probably make you a witch that's made of sand. Actually, I'm not that skillful. In reality, I'll probably do nothing if you tell me to do something. Cause work is a lot of work, obviously. So if you want me to do something, you might have to subscribe. Even then, I'll probably do nothing. You know what? Maybe berserkers don't shoot arrows from the Juju bow. Maybe they just stab their enemies with the bow. Now that's a true berserker. Even tanks and healers can use the Juju bow. If only there was a Juju bow that heals allies. Or, you know, an arrow that heals allies. That would be cool. The only class that can't use the Juju bow might be the mage class. I mean, you probably can, but why would you? Maybe you just enjoy shooting beams from a bow, which I won't question at all. The Juju bow is very simple to use. You right click and left click and arrows are shot instantly. So that's much better than bows like Runans, which you have to drag back fully. Like, come on, it's 2021. We don't need to fully drag back bows to use them. Like, dragging bows back is like so 2020. Runans is still a very known bow because it's much cheaper than Juju bow, and people still use it for things like dragons. Now, if you're not using Runans for dragons, relax. I know how rich you are. You don't have to tell me because I know. But this bow that I'm going to talk about is completely forgotten. It's called the Ender bow. Now, there are other bows like Acacia bow, but honestly, I don't really care that much about them. I wanted to focus on the Ender bow in this video because there is untapped potential with this one. Does the Ender bow have good damage stats? No. Why should we care about this bow? Well, it's basically a Hyperion with a smaller range and does way less damage and have a long cooldown, but very, very cheap to make. You just need 12 enchanted ender pearls and 3 strings. I said that this bow has untapped potential, and it is true. If this bow is able to do what the ability says, it could actually be very useful. Unfortunately, there does seem to be a cap to the damage it can do, and Hypixel has tricked us. We have been bamboozled by the developers. How could they do this to us? When I use the ability on the tribe members, I only do 500 damage. The bow's ability states that I should do 10% of the enemy's health. It's not max health, but current health. But still, I should be doing 10% of 2 billion, which is 200 million damage. That is more damage than what a Hyperion can do, outside and maybe inside of dungeon. Another issue with this bow is that it seems like it doesn't work on dungeon mobs. If it did work in dungeons, this bow could actually be very useful for classes that don't do a lot of damage, like tank and healer class. So while this bow doesn't currently work as intended, there is a possibility that the damage cap will be removed in the future. If the cap is removed, it may be very useful for cheesing certain mobs. Imagine being able to do 10% of a very high HP mob, and everyone carries one of these bows. You would be able to lower the health of that mob very easily. Then again, I don't think they would remove the cap because it's too cheap for a percent HP damaging weapon. Maybe it could be reintroduced as a new weapon that could be much harder to craft. And if that happens, I called it. Now, I said before that mage class might be the only class that might not be able to use the Ender bow, but it might actually be decent for mages if the damage cap was removed and is able to be used on dungeon mobs. Why exactly would it be decent on mages? Well, the mage class has the ability to reduce cooldowns of abilities, including the Ender bow. Wow, that's a mouthful. This means that you can use the Ender bow more often. However, due to the damage cap, The Ender Bow is basically an AOTE that isn't spammable. One day, this bow will be great again. Or they're gonna add a new percent HP damaging weapon, which would be pretty OP, but that would be pretty cool, right? That would be pretty cool. Yeah, that's it for the video. Subscribe and like the video. Maybe doing that will convince the developers to make a new percent HP damaging weapon, which totally wouldn't be OP as heck.